What is love? Welcome to Philosopher's Corner. I'm John. What is love? Well, this one's all over the board. Philosophy doesn't really know what love is, and scientists don't either. So this is going to be a pretty free-form inquiry into what is love. The standard definition for love, the top three definitions, the first one is concern and affection for someone in terms of kinship and intense friendliness. The second definition is affection and concern, culminating in sex. And then the third one is adoration toward God or a God. So, love already in the standard understanding is either something you have for friends, something you have with somebody you want to have sex with, or something with your relationship to God. So three like fairly varied things. So what is love, right? So we know we know it's a feeling, we know it's an emotion. That's something that we can, across culture, across human experience, we can agree that when we say love, as a starting point, we know that we're describing a feeling that we have, it's a state of mind, it's an emotion, and we know that emotions are energy in motion. And we know that, as with all emotions, at the core of the energy of emotions, there's an intent. And all the things that people talk about when it comes to love, when they describe it, when they describe this thing that I guess you could say is ineffable, which means it needs to be experienced to be understood, that all the descriptions of love are talking about that. They're really talking about that at the core of it, the core intention of the love, which is almost universally described as a wellspring of healing and closeness to the best energy there is. Many people go through deep spiritual searches, and their resulting answer of everything, of the answer to life, the universe, the meaning of it all, is love. That has been reported back by sages, mystics, messiahs, prophets, dime store booze hounds. I mean, everybody comes back and they say it's just love. Love is the answer. And they go on to say that the only actual frequency that's occurring in existence is love, and that everything's about your ability to either tune into that frequency and see that that's true, and then everything else is just sort of narrow viewpoints into or different frequencies of love before you're ready to feel the totality of the holistic nature of love, and that everything is unified in love. Right? As Bob Marley, one love, man. And so back on boots on the ground here. So love is an emotion, it's an energy, and by the standard definitions, we can understand that this love energy is useful for relationships, right? Relationship with friends, relationship with lovers, relationship with God. Also, relationship with self. All right, so let's start there. So let's start with self. We put philosophical thought exercise. Just put yourself in a room. There's no other factors. And you look at yourself in the room and you see the love energy being emanated out of your body. And then you start to let your mind wander to the possibilities of what that energy can do for the person, for yourself in this case. So as I do it, I see myself in there and I see the love energy flowing on me. And I see that I get the sense that the love energy it's a universal donor energy. It can be accepted in any capacity. because even though it has a name of love, get the sense that it's a universal energy. It is undeniably a heart focused universal energy, but it can express itself through any frequencies. In this case, like chakral systems or emotions or energies. But the love energy it feels like the universal frequency at the core of it that comes out and goes on to self, and it can ameliorate things, it can heal things on the energetic levels, and it can motivate the action of the individual to do very tangible physical things. So in that case, where it's just me with myself, when there's love energy present, it clears out the room of other concepts that are not love based. So anything that would be considered like the opposite of that, like a self hate or damage or destruction, is no longer present in that room when it's just me in the room with love. So there wouldn't be me and the love in the room with just love, and then like I kill myself, like a suicide situation. Because those concepts, because of the nature of the love energy, they're packed with concepts. The energies are packed with information and concepts. And in the love energy, there's no room for the lower destructive concepts to be packed in. So just by seeing myself in that room with the love energy flooding around, can already observe the positive nature, excuse me, and the uplifting nature of the concepts and the information packed in the love energy. So we would not expect to see, I would not expect to see in this imaginative thought exercise where I'm in the room alone with my love energy, I would not expect to see anything bad happen. In fact, what I would expect to see are a series of self-appreciating activities and thoughts and feelings, things that are good. And when I take the thought experiment out of that room with just myself, and I put it to, excuse me, and I place the love energy in different situations, theoretically, on other people or in other situations, I can start to see through the effects in the people what the nature of the energy itself is. Right? Since we don't have a standard definition, since there's no concrete definition really, we'll examine it through the effects of it, because we all agree that the energy exists. We agree on the name. We agree that it has these different applications. I think it's Plato is saying that, like, he thinks that the love in the material realm is showing our desire, where we kind of pick out objects and people and things in the reality where sort of the perfection energy, the God energy, the universal energy is sort of coming through those objects or people more than others. And we feel a natural affinity to those, and we call it love. Like the energy coming from it, the energy coming out of us, like they sort of match up. And we feel driven, and then that's what animates our actions, given that the love principles entail all these positive, ascending, healing, enjoyable, unifying, reintegrating information and concepts. And if we understand that that's what the energy is, and those are sort of the actions that they're catalyzing and compelling, because it's what it's composed of, then we can see how on those three standard definitions, on the first definition of like love in direction of friends and acquaintances and general public, those energies like compel a certain type of activity in that way that's consistent with the two parts of the energy underlying the material beings attempting unification. And so within those particular data sets of the matrix of behavior and morals and whatnot, as energy flows through to bring them closer, because those energies are the same energy is motivating them to do it, then we can see how that model of behavior is defined by, oh yeah, platonic idea that like there's friendships and general public and all those sort of things. Then there's like the second one, where it's what a lot more people think when it comes to mind with love is, okay, lovers, right? Like two people or whatever, this case, a couple beings, and they're being motivated by this core universal God energy that we call love in them, and then they're recognizing and feeling in each other in ways that are meaningful to those people, ways that are attractive to those people, ways that compel them to want to become intimate. And that can we can see that, like, that's what explains attraction, flirting, dating, courtship, marriage, relationships, the animus for having children, the animus for raising families of any kind, of wanting to share their love in public, to wanting to, codify their love through marriage, or all the different ways that cultures have of signifying that people are in a committed relationship that's based on love. And with a high degree of certainty, excuse me, with a high degree of correlation cross culturally and globally, people who profess to be in committed relationships of those types of natures, they always refer back to the love they feel for each other. And most of the time, when you really get them talking about it, they acknowledge that the love is a force that's coming through them and from within them. And then they found that was the attraction with the other person. They found that the love was coming through them and from within them. And then, in the healthy long-term relationships, that's generally what people involved say is happening. And they've very accurately described all of the internal changes that love provided for them that made them in their minds a better person, that love motivated them to become a better person, to in every way, like biologically, emotionally, in their behavior towards other people, both intimately and at large. And then it gave them the power and the confidence that they belong in the world. Because as we go to the next version of, like, the definition of love is this feeling of adoration towards God or a God, then we can kind of like start to chart a little bit of a progression here, where you go from just like feeling great with other people and beings and stuff to very intimate experience where you can definitely feel the personal growth and appreciate the healing and the growing and all this stuff. And then where it gets transcendental, and maybe Plato's onto something, where it gets more transcendental, and as a person gets comfortable with the love energy and it fills them up, then they can go into a more transcendental love, the adoration towards God, which is where all those mystics and messiahs and sages and prophets and artists have said, when they get to that level and they come back and they go, oh, then I started to fall in love with everything. And then the love fell into me. And with a high degree of, with a high percentage of those people, when they stay in that state long enough and live that lifestyle, they come back and say, yeah, love is the only energy. Like, love, that's what it is. The whole thing is love. And everything else is an illusion, essentially. And so in that way, those reports sort of confirm what Plato is theorizing, in terms of Plato saying that, basically you're in the reality, and where the light pops in, the light is love, like the light is the love is the God. When that pops in our perceived material reality, we sort of naturally are like tuned to like line up with that and then interact with it more intimately and deeply, right? So if you go one to the all the way from like normal to loving to seeing it everywhere, feeling it everywhere, you can see that the love is the through line that can bring us through that progression, and that it's a great evolutionary catalyst, and that it's for sure a force as powerful and on par with all the forces of physics. And love's as important as gravity. If we view that the reality is here to essentially drive evolution and provide experience. The fact that the force of love, which has been well documented by everybody forever, exists, even though we can't necessarily rationally, forensically pin it down. Excuse me. I really apologize for this. And the fact that like it's there and it is that powerful and no one denies its existence. People deny it. They try to deny it entering into them, but no one really denies that it exists. Uh, and that it inevitably leads so many people to God and the understanding of the overall holistic, true, like completely unified nature of reality. I mean, that's beautiful. What could be more beautiful than that? To know that maybe what the most fundamental energy in existence is the existence itself, and that it has created a sort of tributary system, like a river of love, that if we can open up to it and enter into it at any point, will help float us down the stream. I mean, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, merrily, merrily. Life is but a dream. And it seems as though love might be the river that we're traveling on. To do what? To meet other people, to meet our lovers, to meet ourselves, and to meet God. One love.